Welcome to AI Assembled, the top AI news for small business. I'm Chris Doelle, and each week I bring you the most important AI developments that can transform your business. Let's dive into this week's top stories.
There's a quiet counter-movement building against the handful of tech giants that dominate AI today. It is called Current AI. It is a nonprofit, and its ambition is to build open, public AI infrastructure the way the early World Wide Web was built, as a shared resource rather than a private toll road. Current AI is backed by roughly $400 million in initial funding. That money comes from the French government, the Ford Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation, Google DeepMind, and Salesforce, among others. Last week, the organization launched an open-source AI chatbot called AlphaChat, and last month, it deployed $3.2 million in grants to public interest AI projects in Kenya, Lebanon, and the Brazilian Amazon. Those grants are funding local language models, cultural preservation tools, and AI built by and for communities that the big frontier labs are, frankly, ignoring. Here is what happened, and here is why it matters, and here is what to do about it. What happened is that a serious, well-funded alternative to the closed, subscription-based AI world is finally getting off the ground. Why it matters is that if the only AI your business can access is owned by 3 or 4 American companies, you are one pricing change or one policy change away from being cut off. Now the important part, which is what a small or mid-sized business should actually do. Number 1. Put AlphaChat and the other open models Current AI is funding on your evaluation list this quarter. You do not have to switch. You just need a working plan B for the day OpenAI or Anthropic raises prices on you, and that day is coming. Number 2. If your business operates in a non-English market or serves a community whose language is underrepresented, check the Current AI grant list. Some of the models being funded right now will speak your customer's language better than GPT or Claude ever will. Number 3. If you have any interest in your data staying on infrastructure you can audit, open-source public interest AI is the only long-term answer. Start experimenting now, at low stakes, so you are not scrambling later. Knowing this story exists is only the first step. The move is to actually pilot one of these tools before your competitors do. Now to a story that could quietly reshape healthcare, insurance, and eventually what your employee benefits look like. Researchers at the University of Hong Kong have built an AI tool called Cardiomic Score. It is an AI-powered blood test. From a single blood draw, it reads 2,920 proteins and 168 metabolites in your bloodstream. And it uses a deep learning model to predict your risk of 6 major cardiovascular diseases, including heart attack, stroke, and heart failure, up to 15 years before any symptoms show up. Let that sink in. 15 years of advance warning. The model was trained and validated on a very large data set from the UK Biobank, and it beat traditional risk scores meaningfully in head-to-head comparisons. It is published in a peer-reviewed journal, not a press release. This is real. Here is what happened, why it matters, and what to do about it. What happened is that AI just took cardiovascular medicine from reactive to genuinely predictive. Why it matters for a small business owner is that the cost of a preventable heart attack, whether it is you, a co-founder, a key employee, or a family member, is measured in millions of dollars, and sometimes in the survival of the business. Once tests like Cardiomic Score reach clinical rollout, they change the math on preventive care, on group health premiums, and eventually on wellness program design. Now the important part, which is the Do This Now list. Number 1. If you offer group health benefits, put multi-omic biomarker screening on your radar for next year's plan review. Ask your broker directly whether early adopter carriers will start covering advanced risk stratification tests. The first carriers to do so will price aggressively to win business. Number 2. For yourself and any key person in your company whose absence would hurt the business, look into concierge or executive physical programs that already offer proteomic and metabolomic panels. They are not cheap, but they exist. And the delta versus a standard physical is enormous. Number 3. Update your key person insurance. If a 15-year advance warning becomes clinically standard, underwriting will shift, and the businesses that document proactive screening for their leadership will get better terms. The headline here is a science story. The move for you is an insurance and benefits move. Do not let this one sit in the interesting but not urgent pile.
Now to Shanghai, and a model launch that quietly changes the competitive picture for anyone paying for frontier AI. At the World Artificial Intelligence Conference in Shanghai this past week, Alibaba previewed its next flagship large language model. It is called Qwen 3.8 Max Preview, and it is a 2.4 trillion parameter model. For context, that is roughly 10 times the size of the largest model Alibaba shipped just a year ago. And it puts Qwen in the same weight class as the biggest closed models coming out of American labs. Alibaba's Qwen team is publicly positioning the new model as trailing only Anthropic's top-tier system, which they referred to as Claude Fable 5, and beating or matching essentially everyone else on standard benchmarks. Now, benchmarks come with the usual caveats. Vendors pick the tests that flatter them. Preview models are not the same as generally available models, but the direction is unmistakable. A high-quality Chinese frontier model from a company that has been aggressively pricing its AI services to gain market share is now genuinely in the top tier. So, here is what happened, why it matters, and what to do about it. What happened is that the frontier AI market went from a 2- or 3-horse race, all American, to a 4- or 5-horse race with serious Chinese competition. Why it matters is pricing. Every time a credible new frontier model launches, per-token prices on comparable models fall. Alibaba has historically undercut U.S. competitors by 50 to 80% on API pricing, and there is no reason to think this generation will be different. Now the important part. Number 1. Ask your current AI vendor, in writing, for their price roadmap through the next 12 months. Then, quietly, run a technical evaluation of Qwen on the exact workloads you use AI for today. Coding, summarization, customer support, data extraction, whatever it is. Do not do this because you want to switch. Do it because leverage in your next renewal conversation requires a real alternative sitting on your desk. Number 2, if your workload does not require top-of-the-line reasoning, and honestly, most SMB workloads do not, price-sensitive open-weight or lower-cost models are already good enough. The gap between frontier and good enough is shrinking every quarter. Every dollar you spend on frontier capability you did not need is a dollar you did not spend on hiring, marketing, or product. Number 3, be careful about data residency and compliance. If you operate in the US, the EU, or in regulated industries, using a Chinese model for anything involving customer data is not a simple decision. Get your privacy counsel involved before you pipe real data through any non-domestic model. Use these tools for internal experimentation and non-sensitive tasks first. The takeaway is not that you should abandon Anthropic or OpenAI. The takeaway is that you now have real leverage in the negotiation, and you should use it. This week's other big under-the-radar story. Anthropic pushed enterprise customers from flat rate to full usage-based billing back in April, and GitHub Copilot followed weeks later. Meanwhile, a KPMG survey of over 2,000 executives found nearly 1 in 3 has no idea where their AI costs are actually coming from. And Uber publicly admitted it burned through its entire 2026 AI coding budget in 4 months. The pattern is clear. The AI bill is coming due, and the businesses that will thrive are the ones that treat AI spending like a P&L line item, not a magic wand. Which brings us to the point of this whole show.
Here is something worth saying out loud. Every AI newsletter, every AI podcast, every AI briefing you subscribe to will tell you what happened this week. Current AI launched. A blood test predicts heart attacks 15 years out. Alibaba shipped a 2.4 trillion parameter model. Great. Now what? Knowing what is happening is only part of the news. Frankly, it is the easy part. The hard part, and the actually valuable part, is figuring out what to do about it before your competitor does. That is what this show tries to do every week. So let's put a bow on it with the Do This Now list for the week of July 20th. From the current AI story. This week, put one open source model on your evaluation list. Not to switch, to have a plan B. And if you operate in a non-English speaking market, look at what current AI is funding in your region. You may find a model that fits your customers better than anything from San Francisco. From the Cardiomomic Score story. This month, ask your health benefits broker 2 direct questions. When will advanced multi-omic screening be a covered benefit? And, is there an early adopter carrier we should be talking to? Then, for key people in your business, look into a proteomic panel through a concierge health provider. Yes, it costs real money. So does replacing your co-founder. From the Alibaba Quen story. Before your next AI vendor renewal, and no later than 90 days from now, run a real technical bake-off of your workloads against at least one alternative model. Document the results. Bring them to the renewal conversation. That single hour of preparation is worth more, in dollar terms, than almost anything else on your calendar this quarter. And the meta point, which applies to every AI story you will read this year. When you hear a headline, ask 3 questions. What actually happened? Why does it matter for a business my size? And what specifically am I going to do differently this week because of it? If you cannot answer that 3rd question, you have not really absorbed the news. You have just consumed it. The businesses that will win the next 2 years are not the ones that read the most about AI. They're the ones that build the tightest loop between hearing news and acting on it. Make that loop tighter, starting this week. That is the whole game. See you next time.
That's it for this week's AI Assembled, the top AI news for small business. If you found this valuable, share it with a fellow business owner. And if you want to know whether AI tools can find and recommend your business, get your free AI website optimization report at freshmediaworks.com/AI ready. Until next week, keep innovating and keep it real.